Daily highlights for Vic Super. Vic Super's conscious investment option. Super that makes a difference.
It's a very, very big club now. Those that have kicked the goal with their first kick in league footy. He loads up from 55 and he's just joined that club. He connected beautifully and he is mobbed by his teammates. Welcome to the big league, Darcy Fogarty. Stewart, sticky fingers, stuttering approach, low drop punt, straight through the middle.
Gathering, McGrath has a shot, puts it through.
Right on 50, Bell Chambers makes spectacular connection. Stewart runs around to improve the angle from 45. Hello. He's got his second. And the Bombers lead by 3 points at quarter time on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard. 4-2-26 to Adelaide 3-5-23. James Stewart, the only multiple goal kicker, with 2 around the ground. South Africa have just been bowled out for 311 in their first innings in Cape Town. Dean Elgar finishing 141 not out. Let's get down to the boundary for Master Builders. Nat Edwards, what can you report?
Yeah, Zach Merritt is still down in the rooms, guys. He hasn't emerged. Doc Reed has also gone down there. I can tell you that the tackle rate has been good overall for the Bombers, but they need to lift in the forward half, and that's according to a screen down here on the bench.
Thanks for that, Nat. Tony Shaw and Matthew Lloyd on Friday night 3AW footy.
Just an interesting game of football, isn't it? Not the most polished game, but there is a fair bit of pressure out there. Not as in tackling over the numbers, but Essendon, to me, I thought Adelaide really dominated up to about the last 10 minutes of that quarter. They're inside 50s. They were +7 for the quarter. I thought Bell Chambers has done a really good job on Jacobs not having influence. He's got forward and kicked a goal on him. Maybe a bit lucky in that the ball slewed off the boot. But I'm with you. Adam Sard, he's playing on Eddie Betts. Now, Eddie Betts hasn't had a massive influence. He's had 4 possessions and hasn't kicked a score. So maybe they're trying to say to Adam Sard, we know you can do the running part, Lloydie, but I'm a bit like you. I'd like to see him released because I think that is the dangerous part of his game. But how many times do you do it in a game? Maybe not too much, but to hold Betts to a non-score at this stage is a good job.
Yeah, they'd take that, Shorey, because he's averaged 4 goals a game across their last 4 meetings. So yeah, we're seeing on the Yarra Valley and Croydon Toyota replay this Zach Merritt hit countless times, and I think you're spot on, Shorey. He seems to be hit him fair and square on the side, but it's going to be fascinating if he's got concussion and how that concussion came about, Dwayne, because it seemed a very fair hit.
Yeah, no contact with the head, but the brain can rattle in the cage.
Yeah, well, I really hope that that's not reported. I think our game is in a little bit of trouble.
Well, we're told that Douglas has been reported. And according, well, you're spot on, Shuri, that wasn't even a free kick.
Second quarter for Tyre Power, still no clearance. Sard eventually pushes off Bryce Gibbs, gets a handball to Heppel. Handball to Zaharakis, they're retreating. Eventually Hartley off a step. Another kick was smothered brilliantly by McGovern. Trying to charge through was Matty D. Stripped to the footy, but fortuitously it fell to Zaharakis. Kicks out wide and Heppel, the skipper, takes the mark on centre wing on this Medallion Club side. He waits the pass. It floats over the left shoulder of Cale Hooker, and he's taken the mark 40 metres out on about a 60-degree angle.
Yeah, that was the easy part for Cale. Sure. This is the hard part, and watched him in an intra-club game miss 4 in about a quarter of footy. He's marking everything, but still so robotic with his kicking motion.
41 goals last year.
Good call, Lloydie.
And Lloydie, he has slammed that into the behind post 3/4 of the way up.
I've seen better robot kicks than that.
And it's out of bounds on the full. Not Robot Building Supplies.
No, of course.
Great friends.
That looked like Jaime.
Just more on the cricket, gentlemen. South Africa all out for 311. Steve Smith has taken 5 catches in the South African first innings.
And Adelaide 51, Melbourne 48, almost half-time in the MDL Game 3 of their grand final series. Bell Chambers,
he's done a good job so far.
Yes, he's beaten Jacobs so far.
There's not many feathers between those two these days.
Still around 25 degrees, we're told. Bell Chambers thumps at top of the square. See what the leapers do. In fact, the ball comes back to Duday. He was tackled and almost paid the mark. It caught a fingertip on the way through. It might be the second mark he probably should have been paid. It didn't get given to him. Ball up at full forward for the Bombers, just to the side of their goal square as Crouch caught, got it up to Brown, got it up to Laird, kicks it towards the half-back flank. Doing well, well not so well was Fogarty. He gave the free kick away, did Fogarty, and Bell Chambers about to thump it back to full forward again.
That's another high ball. It'll land 15 out from under. Now Danaher, he was catapulted out the front of the pack, and the umpire said that is because he was pushed fair and square in the back and take a free kick, Big Joe.
He looked to make a lot of it, so let's see the first movement because was he being held by Talia before he could launch at the footy?
Yarra Valley and Croydon Toyota replay. We haven't seen it as yet. We're about to see it now, Lloydie.
I was holding the jumper. Both were holding jumpers, so that's not... That's not a free.
Danaher directly in front, hammers it home.
I think he might have heard that he got the free, so he pulled out of the marking contest. His
first goal of the evening, and the Bombers out to a 9-point buffer again. 5-2-32. The Crows 3-5-23. Tyre Power scoreboard 3 minutes into the second.
And Natalie Edwards is downstairs. Welcome to you, Nat. What have you got?
Zach Merritt has come back out onto the ground. He's sitting on the bench at the moment. So we'll just have to see and if he comes back onto the ground.
Nat Edwards downstairs for Master Builders. Is your builder a Master Builder?
Looks very agitated down there on the interchange bench. Does he have to wait the 20 minutes? Is that still the rule for concussion tests?
And can you get an accumulation concussion from the JLT and a heavy bump here that didn't touch your head but rattled your cage anyway? Interesting stuff. Ball up in the middle. Jacobs knocks it down. Got it to Crouch. Handled it back to Gibbs. Crows go forward. High kick. Fogarty drops back. Has to fist it away. Down to Sard. He got a handball. Fogarty cut it off. Then he laid a tackle on Sard. Ball flicked out. Langdon goes wide. Langford goes wide. Zaharakis. He's got it. Half back flank. Spins around. Turns it over. Marked by Gibbs. Floats it back to Eddie Betts, who's hardly seen it. Jeez. Well done by Hartley. He was facing away from the ball and he spoiled with the back of his hand, and the Bombers dodge a bullet. 23 plays 32. Bombers lead. Hurley's ball. Back pocket just inside defensive 50. And we played 4 minutes in this second term, brought to you by Tyre Power. Know your tyres.
Little push in the back from McGovern. Hurley took all of his allotted time. Playing was called. He had to kick it on his left foot eventually. Out very wide off hands, and it trickles over the boundary line right in front of the interchange gates where we see Stringer coming on to replace Parrish.
Do you know Brett, Harold and the team at Bulleen Tyre Power? They know your tyres.
Okay. Are they related to Peter Allen?
I think they are. Everybody. That's the Tyre Power family.
From the restart, Gibbs with a handball to Seedsman. High ball, which will land inside forward 50. And the mark almost taken there by Jenkins. Worried out of it in the end. Bombers there in numbers. Hartley tries to crash through. Zaharakis has been busy. Received the handball from Stringer. Kicked down the line. And the nice mark taken by Langford. Defensive side of centre wing. Essendon 9 points to the good. 5 minutes into the second quarter. Really warm Friday night in Melbourne. Roof open. Langford hugs the boundary line, and Danaher. What a terrific mark overhead, particularly with a dual All-Australian in Talia right on your hammer. The kick, though, was terrible, Dwayne.
Yeah, no one was looking for it. All the Bomber players had their backs to him. Kelly gives it to Crouch. Short pass to Laird. Travelled 14 metres. Gave it to Atkins. He blasts it forward. Jenkins out of position. Forced to go for the spoil. Brown got it to ground. Picked up by Hurley for the Bombers. Handball half smothered by Douglas. Hurley goes back in. Douglas traps it this time. Then he shrugs the tackle. Feeds a handball out towards attacking 50. Josh Jenkins gets his arms free. Ball gone through it.
The forward line is dysfunctional at the moment. There's no ground level pressure. And Jenkins, McGovern, Betts have just been non-existent in terms of their form. They missed Tom Lynch as a hit-up and Charlie Cameron's forward pressure.
Langford, low ball, honours the lead of Hooker, who got hands on it but couldn't complete the mark. He fights on, and from hands and knees, shovels out a handball to McKenna, darts around Hartigan, takes a bounce, kicks it towards full forward. Will it sit nicely for Stringer? It didn't. He gets it on the third bounce. Big turning circle, handball back inboard, but it's all Adelaide. They muck it up though. Heppel's a chance, swings around, concedes ground by Hannah Zaharakis. Standing start, kicks it right to the goal square. Mark almost taken by Stewart, and then it falls off his hands into the turf and bounces into the behind post for a throw in. But a exciting passage of play by the Bombers. Good transition, and there'll be a throw in right forward pocket at the Fletcher end.
Still about 25 degrees. Roof open here at Etihad, and a massive flock of seagulls just floating around inside the arena, enjoying the game so far. Ball slammed out by Crouch. Gets it outside 50. Gets it outside the boundary. And we'll get a ball in at half-back flank for the Adelaide Crows.
Are they the MCG Seagulls? And just realised the game's not on there, so transfer. Just fly up the river.
Good 80s band. Maybe you would have done your best work to flock of seagulls down there at Moorabbin.
No, weren't really mine.
Okay. Ball back into play. Zaharakis. Iran, I think, was their song. McKenna, big tackle by Douglas. Oh, a dumping hard tackle. Got him to the ground. Ball comes up to Gibbs. Handball to Seedsman, but he missed him completely. Picked up by Heppel. He fell into a high one. Umpire said, no, you're not getting a free for that. Play on. So they do play on. 50 from goal. Devon Smith. Brown of the Crows. Devon Smith lays the tackle. Good hard tackle. Keeps it in the area. And umpire Razor races. I'll ball it up. 50 out from the Bombers' goal. Nat Edwards on the boundary.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Zach Merritt. He came off with that concussion, obviously, and had a test, and he keeps shaking his head. He's back on the bench, but having words with Doc Reed, and he keeps shaking his head. It just doesn't look good for him.
Thanks for that, Nat. Down on the boundary for Master Builders from the restart, and the Bombers force it forward. I think it was Devon Smith, and the ball actually trickles out of bounds in the left forward pocket, so another throw-in.
So we might be about to get our first legal concussion from a good hard bump.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think he has to have his 20 minutes off, doesn't he? I'm sure of that. If he undertakes a concussion.
No, if he fails the concussion test, he's off, done, all over.
Yeah, if he hasn't passed it, yeah.
Yep.
Stewart takes front position, wins it down, Stringer gathers, and the high snap over the left shoulder. It actually doesn't reach the goal line, and it's punched through by either Kelly or Brown, Luke, that is, for a rush behind. Luke Brown takes the quick kick in, and he picks out a teammate at left half back.
Lloyd, did he get knocked out at training as well? Did he have a JLT and a training concussion?
That's right. So 3 times in 8 weeks, Dwayne, for Zach Merritt, including tonight.
Which was Duday. Tried a little pass to Kelly. It went about 8 metres. Mark wasn't paid, and Adelaide somehow have come up with a free kick to Duday on that occasion.
They're within 10 points, but they're just hanging on at the moment, particularly if the Bombers kick the next goal.
Jenkins flies, can't mark. Should have been a free kick to Murphy. Umpire didn't give it to him. Play on, said the umpire. Centering kick, top of the square. Devon Smith and Danaher. Danaher gets there first. 50 from goal. Weaves some magic, kicks a mongrel. He did everything right until he kicked it out of play.
I'll tell you what, the other test with the Merritt thing too, Dwayne, is if he's had these problems, a legal bump to still cause the problem should not be the responsibility of the person who bumps.
You make a really good point, Shuri, a really good point. And what's that going to mean for him down the track? Three or 4 weeks' time when
Let's see if he comes back on if
wants to play.
If a defender missed kick like that at the other end of the ground, he would have been pinged for deliberate. He missed by that far. McDonald, Tip and Woody look away, handball to Hooker, and he's hooked it too far.
I think they've got the finger in the dam here, boys.
Minor score to Cale Hooker. They are peppering the Bombers, 5-4-34. Crows 3-5-23. Tyre Power scoreboard 10 minutes into the second.
He's got no run whatsoever, and we talk about Brodie Smith. They won't have him all year, but they just miss that run carry. Even
Eddie! Sorry, Lloyd.
Sorry, I was going to ruin your moment there, Dwayne. Sorry for Charlie Cameron as well, just that run and carry.
Hartley gets the crumb going to Zaharakis. He was just lurking it. He had the big 4-step run up. He goes to Heppel, takes the mark, 50 out, and the ball has been carrying. He drives it long, top of the square. Hooker! Got it!
Oh. A free kick.
Yeah, it happened. Danaher off the ball.
Oh, so Hooker thinks he's got it. Yeah, the Bomber fans think he's got it, but he ain't got it.
Yeah, Danaher off the ball, just grabbed around the neck, Talia, and just dragged him to the ground.
Wow. Okay.
Just saw it there. It wasn't a lot in it, but the umpy saw it.
Finger in the dam, as you mentioned, Shuri.
Yeah, it's happening.
Absolutely, and it's leaking around that finger. Wide towards the wing. McGovern goes one-handed. Couldn't bring the mark down. D gets the crumb. Gave it to Parrish. Gave it to Heppel. Gives it all the way back towards Hurley. Nowhere to go. Gave it back to Heppel again. On half-back flank. Squeezes the kick. Turns it over straight to Crouch.
Crows need a steadier here. They are right up against it as he comes inboard to Greenwood. Little handball to Laird. Pokes a nice looking pass to Murphy, the debutant. There's 3 of them in the Crows side tonight. Spreads it wide and Seedsman marks at 55. He's a long kick of the footy, but this would be just outside his range. He goes wider again. And the mark is taken at 52 by Kelly. He loads up on his left boot. It'll land 15 metres out from goal. Only one player flew, and it was Josh Jenkins. And he's taken the mark uncontested in the end in a contested situation, if that makes sense. Slight angle, 15 metres out.
I think there was some work off the ball. I think someone came across his man.
Eddie Betts.
And whether it was a block, Eddie Betts, great spoil, but I think it should have been a block, matter of fact. He put his hands up saying, I did go for the mark, but he didn't really.
Mitch Brown was the one kept out of the contest by Eddie, just floating across from the side. Jenkins for his second. the former Bomber rookie list player, and he makes no mistake. And the Crows do get that badly needed one. Back to within 5 points, 4-5-29 Adelaide, 5-4-34 Essendon. Tyre Power scoreboard, and here's Nat Edwards on the boundary.
Zach Merritt has gone back down into the Essendon rooms. I'll keep you updated as to whether he comes back with a tracksuit, and potentially his day is done.
And it really hurts them in that midfield, because suddenly Kyle Langford, who hasn't been in the centre bounce too many times, he's gone in there. So they're one key player down, their best midfielder down, and that's the strength of the Adelaide Crows. And that's a big blow, that goal to Jenkins, because it's been 7 inside 50s in a row for Essendon for just 1 goal.
From the restart, tight contest, close contest, warm contest, as Ellis Yeoman gives it out towards Sloan. He squeezes towards half forward, and Brown for the Bombers takes the mark. 4-5-29 to 5-4-34. Essendon lead, 13 gone. Second term brought to you by Tyre Power. Brett Howard and the team down at Bulleen. Tyre Power, they know your tyres. Drop in and see them and tell them we sent you.
Long kick down towards centre wing. Hooker gave Hartigan a bit of a push but got away with it. Hartigan's opposite number 15, Josh Green, was lurking, mopped up the crumbs, high ball to right half forward. Crows under pressure, McKay tracks it back, gets a handball over his head looking for Talia, close to the boundary line, and in fact it trickles over where the arc meets the chalk, so 50 out from the Essendon goal. What's inside 50s?
21-17, so it's even this quarter, but I think Essendon have been deeper with their entries.
Yeah, it seems like the Bombers have dominated inside 50s this term. They're inside 50 now, but Betts is there working hard for the Crows. Got a handball to Sloan, but kicked it into the back of McGrath. It ricocheted back about 15 metres. Still no clean possession. Sloan goes in again. Chance there for Jenkins. Ball was taken off his boot. It is heavy work in the trenches. Eventually Zaharakis kicks the ball forward, but there's been a free kick plucked out by the non-controlling umpire. And Sloan will be the recipient. Don't ask me what for, gentlemen.
Because it was congested and they needed to clear the area.
And that's cynical Dwayne Russell, who's taking up the call on Friday night 3AW football for McDonald's.
Tell you what, it was congested though. It was a horrible passage of play. Hartigan gets on the end of the short pass, goes to Talia. Good spoil though. McKenna got it down to ground. Begley short, got it to Stringer. Flick over the head to Danaher. Runs to 45 and kicks out on the full. He should have gave it up. He had a runner next to him. He looked up and said, no, I got this covered. And then he kicked it to someone in the grandstand.
How's he kicking tonight so far, Matthew?
Not well, and you look at some of the misses from the Bombers too. They should be 3 or 4 goals up and have just been so wasteful.
Long kick outside, defensive 50. Plenty of Bombers at ground level. McGrath to Hartley by hand. High kick back to the hot spot. No mark taken. Crows are going to have to work hard in. Now, was that a trip? McKenna ran his Adelaide opponent down in Seedsman, who was then pinged. Gee, the umpire, how did he miss that? It was right in front of him.
He wasn't looking. He was looking at where he was running and wasn't looking at the game.
Stringer fights on after it. Still no whistle. Eventually the whistle goes, and listen to the boos now.
You got to watch the game if you're 3 metres away, not run away from it.
Seedsman got about 4 opportunities to get rid of it. Then we'll have a throw up 45 out from the Essendon goal.
Well, I've just seen the replay.
The Yarra Valley and Croydon Toyota replay.
I reckon the umpire won't want to look at it. Jenkins knocks it down, straight down to Gibbs. It was a double-handed pat. Heppel takes the mark on the wing for the Bombers. Every player on the ground ahead of him. So 38 players in one half. And he puts it into the congestion and Sloan flies. Can't mark. Ball comes up towards Parrish. He bends it around the body and he kicks a behind. A little bit of a hush.
Yeah, 11-4 inside 50s, Beaver, this quarter. So you spoke about that dominance, but 1 goal 3 for their 11 inside 50s.
And they lead by just 6 points, 5-5 to 4-5. 16 minutes into the second quarter. David McKay with the kicking in duties. He goes long and strong out to this harbour side of the stadium, and Goddard rises high. He had the sit and he takes a lovely mark, and as good a kick, delivers it lace out to McGrath. Last year's NAB Rising Star winner. And he's got it directly in front, and he goes short as well to Green, who is about 15 metres closer, still directly in front, and will have to shoot from only 30 to 35.
What was his accuracy like last year, Beaver? Josh Green, you've usually got those numbers.
Not 17 goals, 21,
That's
Lloydie.
why I asked. I think, yeah.
Never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't think he had a great year in front of the sticks, so let's see if McGrath made the right decision. News from Nat Edwards on the boundary after this kick. And Lloydie's right on the money again. That's why he's on the big money. He misses to the left. 5-6-36 Essendon, 4-5-29 Adelaide. Here's Nat Edwards.
The night is over for Essendon. Zach Merritt, 3 head knocks in 8 weeks. The Bombers aren't willing to take a risk. He's sitting at the back of the bench with a jumper on, and he doesn't look happy at all.
No, he'll get another concussion if he keeps shaking his head the way he's been doing for the last 15 or 20 minutes. He's been rattling it from side to side. Jacobs gets a free, floats it towards Ellis Yeoman, takes the mark at half forward for the Adelaide Crows. He sees Douglas and then he saw Crouch and he split the middle. Handball to neither of them. McKenna, he got a handball up, paddles toward the wing. Goddard takes on the tackle and takes it out. We'll get a ball in on the wing. And we'll find out that decision tomorrow, won't we?
Yeah, they do it tonight. Yep.
So Michael Christian, will we honour that tonight or tomorrow morning?
Yeah, it's going to be massive.
It is a big test. I really believe it's a massive test.
I believe he's actually at Moonee Valley at the William Reid Stakes at the moment. It's
Chriso, is he?
Has he got a horse in, has he?
He'll be watching it on his phone.
Tell you what, I hope he heard what Tony Shaw had to say because he nailed it first sight. Blair, half-back flank. Gave it up just in time to McKay. Floats it to Jacobs. And they've got a little bit of momentum here, Adelaide, even if they haven't got the lead.
Jacobs loops a handball to Gibbs. Runs 10, kicks at 50. That's a lovely kick as well to Eddie. As the mark, the mark hasn't been paid.
What about the arm chop these days?
Sard goes to ground, paddled forward. Betts has got it, tried to spin out of the tackle. Hampton bumped into his teammate in Fogarty. McDonald tipping Woody's got the footy. He hasn't held to him, and Razor Ray calls for it. How would you rate the umpires out of 10 so far, Shuri?
About a 6-ish, I think.
I think that one, though, there was a good decision. The closing speed.
He flicked his arm away, didn't he?
Well, they don't pay that.
Or did he get the ball?
Yeah.
Jacobs wins the tap. Greenwood runs onto it. Handball to Eddie. Here he goes for an early goal of the year nomination. He went the banana from the boundary, and it was always narrow. And a minor score. 4-6-30 the Crows. 5-6-36 the Bombers, and that is on the Tyre Power scoreboard. 19 minutes into the second term.
James going up a little gear. D thumps a bomb outside 50. Big pack. Danaher rises, can't mark it. Picked up by Duday. He gave the handball up just in time to Talia. Kicks back top of the square. McGovern's there for the crumb. Didn't gather. Now does. In fact, Greenwood got it. He gave a little trickling kick. Hurley too far out to rush it. Couldn't rush it. Eddie Betts rushes at him and knocked it out deliberately, and we'll get a ball in forward pocket for the Adelaide Crows, who trail by one straight kick. 36 plays 30, 20 on second.
6:46 remaining on the clock until the long break. Jacobs lays it down, but straight to Mitch Brown, who did a beautiful little handball to release Devon Smith. Charges away, but kicks to a 2-on-1. Talia went back with the fly to the footy, but dropped the mark. Kelly's got it, but he's got a problem called Stringer. He's all over him. Is that accidentally socket out of bounds on the full? No. Essendon fans will be even more upset now. McKay, it looked as if he'd socketed over the boundary line on the full. Once again, the Yarra Valley and Croydon Toyota replay will tell the story. No, he got his paw on it at the last minute. Boundary throw in centre wing, City side.
You just joined us. Zach Merritt done for the night. Concussed in an incident that didn't actually see any contact to his head. Devon Smith goes back to D. He goes back to Dyson Heppel. He's on the wing, just the defensive side of it. Short pass to Danaher. Middle of the ground. Gave up the handball to McGrath. Back to Heppel. All these possessions still in the middle. Now he blasts it long. Goddard gets there and takes the mark. 47 out. And I reckon he's within range.
Oh, yeah. No, is it within range? No doubt. Just the Heppel-Goddard use of half-back. Looks like Heppel's rolled back now, and he's doing the role that Goddard was doing in the first quarter. And they swap over every 5 or 7. I like it because they both use the ball really well.
Australia none for 10 in the cricket in reply to South Africa's 311.
45-degree angle, and the kick will be from 49 out. Struck it well. Looks okay only. It's drifting, and it's almost marked on the line, but it is a behind. Had he kicked it straight, it would have been distance far enough. But it was across the face.
I reckon the Bombers have dominated, but there's a lot of improvement in a lot of individuals, like Sam Jacobs, We talked about, I know Jenkins kicked 2 goals, but he hasn't had a massive impact, Eddie Betts, so they've got a bit of upside, the Crows.
Yeah, McGovern yet to touch it in this second quarter as well.
1-5 to 1-1 in this second quarter in favour of the Bombers. Adelaide eventually, after a chain of handballs, burst off left half back through Rory Laird. He kicks in the direction of the villain for the rest of the night in Dickie Douglas, who gets the rounds of the kitchen from the Essendon members on the City side. He dropped the mark, in fact, and it's out of bounds, 75 around from the Adelaide goal. 5-7 to 4-6. Essendon by 7 points, 22 minutes into the second quarter, all on the Tyre Power scoreboard. And here's Dwayne Russell on Friday night 3AW football.
I'm going to ring Chriso. I reckon he needs to see it. Zaharakis at half back. Gives it up to Devon Smith. Chiseled it. Not Donald Tippenwoody. Knocks it down for the crumb. Good race on to get it. Picked up by Parrish. He runs. Got a couple of options. Green's one of them inside 50. Stewart's the other. The Seagulls scatter. Stewart knocks it away. Duday gathers. Flicked it to McKay. Almost a throw. Got away with it. Short pass is good. Bryce Gibbs down the spine. Options are plenty. Crows about to go forward here and have a score. Sloan looks up. He gave it up instead. Hampton got on the end of the hand pass from Fogarty. He chips it to Douglas.
Let's play on.
Play on, not the required. Douglas kicks long across the face. And it's a behind.
They messed that up.
I had the spare man all the way down.
Hampton wanted to have the shot, but got pressured out of it in the end by the more experienced Richard Douglas.
Who probably should have given it back to Hampton then by hand.
I think Bryce Gibbs has had a really good quarter for the Adelaide Crows. He's now up to 17 disposals.
AFL has confirmed that the decision on the Merritt incident will take place. Firstly, Chriso's got to see it, but 5 o'clock tomorrow, we're told.
Okay. Chriso out at Money Valley. McKenna. Short to Zaharakis in the back pocket.
I bet doesn't have a hangover.
Long the line. Off hands, leg with a speculative kick inside forward 50, and Jenkins just too big and strong for Mitch Brown. Protected the ball drop and hugged it to his ample chest. He'll line up for his third from directly in front and only 30 metres out.
Is there a race meeting tomorrow too in Melbourne?
I'm sure there is. It's Saturday.
Mornington Cup tomorrow, I think.
Well, this man, I said he had the lift. I know he's kicked the 2 goals. He got one over the top and one with the 50 metre. So, to me, he's an important part now that their captain isn't playing tonight. Coming in for his 3rd goal.
Yeah, to level the scores, which seems very much against the grain. He kicks it hard and high. He didn't need to do that much work with it and misses to the left. That is a bad miss from a man who usually converts quite easily. 2 goals, 1 to Jenkins. Adelaide 4-8-32. Essendon 5-7-37.
Hurley kicks in from full back to the back pocket. Brown of the Bomber variety takes the mark, back pocket. And he pumps it wide. Now, who's out there? High, fly, and a mark to Talia over the top of Stewart. I think Hooker thought he was going to get a free. Looked at the umpire. The umpire said no. Talia short, and Jenkins takes the mark, plays on, runs to 51, long towards the square. Fogarty one hand at it, Sloan one hand at it, outside of the boot. I reckon he's kicked it. Murphy, first goal on AFL footy. They're going to go to the replay. Murphy likes it. The Crows like it. If he's kicked it, they're in front at the 25-minute mark of the second term, but they're going to the video.
It's a smart piece of play here.
Umpire's call is a goal. Can we please ensure that the ball is not touched?
Umpire's calls a goal. Is this Murphy's first ever AFL goal?
Yeah, looks like it, Dwayne.
Sausage. Oh, did there a little finger, mate? Or did that come after the ball? Oh, gee, it's a tight. Just saw the finger bend, but whether it was after the ball or not.
Well, the umpire's call is a goal.
He called a goal,
yeah,
so that'll overrule.
Behind.
Oh, I don't know how it works. I can't get it. How many years has it been in?
How was that definitive evidence? That's extraordinary.
I don't think I've got one right in 4 years.
Join the club. 4-9-33, the Crows. 5-7-37, the Bombers. The Bombers bring it outside defensive 50. Luke Brown kicks it back in just as quickly. It's a scramble at the top of the goal square. Hurley with a handball to Sard. Can he finally use some speed? He was actually almost ran down. He kicks it about 55 metres, almost to centre wing. Another scramble at ground level. Bit scrappy close to half-time. Sloan with a good handball out towards back Crouch to Kelly. Back to Crouch. Another handball to Bryce Gibbs with the buzz cut. He's hard to recognise. Kicks it towards full forward. At the back, Alice Yeoman. He's a big-bodied midfielder. Comes crashing through. Couldn't control the footy. Neither could Fogarty. And it's out of bounds in the right forward pocket. Around the grounds, the NBL Grand Final, Dwayne Russell.
Melbourne United lead by 3 halfway through the third quarter. In fact, I'm guessing they've just taken the scores off. They lead by 2 with 6 minutes left in the third.
And Australia none for 24. David Warner off to a flyer, 20 from 11.
So the ball in. Forward pocket, Crows. Saad tries to scramble it. Ellis Yeoman missed his boot with a kick attempt. Seedsman lays a tackle too high. Free kick, Bombers back pocket.
Minute 40 to go. They just cannot get it out of their defence here, Essendon. I think the Crows have had their best period of the match in this last 6 or 7 minutes, led by Gibbs, Matty Crouch, their senior midfielders. Been
a little unlucky too with those decisions as Danaher floats in, didn't elect to mark, knocked it down to McGrath, gave it to Smith, back to McGrath, chip kick to Heppel. Nice ball movement. So there's still a minute left. And they go forward here. Danaher's on the run. McDonald, Tipper-Woody's got the skates on. Danaher pulls up. Now he looks. Now he blasts it. McDonald, Tipper-Woody still in position. Out Mark Brown.
It was a floater, wasn't it?
Just had enough on it to get over the front man. I thought the positioning of the Adelaide Crows player in Brown was good, but just a penetration from Danaher. Wasn't the greatest kick, but it was flat and fast.
So McDonald, Tipper-Woody for a settler here for the Bombers inside the last minute. 40 seconds left and he's blown his lines. He kicked the mongrel across the face with the hook kick.
Lordie's shaking his head. Should he have kicked the drop punt, Lordie?
He's on his preferred side for a right footer, so yes. I saw Jack Revolt do one from an easier angle last night, so all the players are doing it. But 1 goal 6 now from 15 inside 50s for the Bombers
and
this
in this
quarter.
Second quarter, a total of 2 goals 10. The Crows haven't been much better with 1 goal 4. The Crows bring it down towards centre wing. Oh, that was a clever tap by Duday to Hampton. Not sure what he was thinking though. Moved it forward. Douglas was always under pressure from Hurley and it's thumped out of bounds adjacent the interchange gates on this harbour side of the stadium. 29 minutes into the second term. We've got 21 seconds remaining on the clock. 5-8 plays 4-9. Tight and tough here at Etihad Stadium on a warm Friday night. Jacobs wins it down to Crouch. Only Matt playing tonight. Brad out injured. Turned it over. Heppel got it to Goddard. Kicks towards Langford. Almost completed the mark. Just short of centre half forward. Laird and Langford fight on after it. Brilliantly done by Begley. Emerges with the footy. Kicks it forward. Slipping over with Stringer. Adelaide there in numbers. McKay's got it. And with the last kick of the half, he heads to the safety of the outer centre wing. And a very exciting, if not high scoring, first half. And Essendon go into the main change, and of course it is half time for Sheen Panel Service. Make sure you have choice of repairer, so after an accident you can call Sheen. The Bombers lead by 5 points, 5-8-38 to Adelaide, 4-9-33 on the Tyre Power scoreboard.
And we're taking your calls, 96900 693. The Twitter has gone crazy. Tony Shaw said it was a legal bump. Merritt is out for the game. You saw it at home. If you haven't seen it, Google it. You can have a look at it. It'll be on our website as well. Check it out. The Merritt bump that's put him out of the game. Is it suspendable or not? We'll take your calls and your thoughts straight after the break. This is 3RW Football for McDonald's. 24 McNuggets for $9.95. 3RW is football. 38 plays 33. Bombers lead at the half.
This is the 2018 Toyota AFL Premiership season. This quarter brought to you by Tyre Power. Get Tyre Power know-how.
Danaher directly in front, hammers it home. Jenkins for his second. He makes no mistake. And the Crows do get that badly needed one. Gee, the umpire, how did he miss that? It was right in front of him.
He was looking at where he was running and wasn't looking at the game.
Stringer fights on after it. Still no whistle. Eventually the whistle goes, and listen to the boos now.
You got to watch the game if you're 3 metres away, not run away from it. And they go forward here. Danaher's on the run. McDonald, Tipper-Woody's got the skates on. McDonald, Tipper-Woody still in position. Out Mark Brown.
very inaccurate second quarter, a total of 2 goals, 10 kicked between the two sides. The Bombers adding 1 goal, 6. The Crows 1 goal, 4. And at half-time for Sheen Panel Service, it is Essendon by 5 points, 5-8-38 to Adelaide 4-9-33. Friday night football for McDonald's. 3AW is football. You can join the conversation via Twitter. At 3AW is football is our Twitter handle, and the Twitter is going into meltdown. More from Nat Edwards in just a tick. Macca's 24 McNuggets for $9.95. James Stewart's kicked 2 goals, 1 each to McGrath, Bell Chambers and Joe Danaher, while for the Crows 2 goals to Josh Jenkins and 1 each to Curtly Hampton and Darcy Fogarty with his first kick in league football. Here's Nat Edwards before halftime analysis from Tony Shaw and Matthew Lloyd.
Yeah, so the AFL has confirmed that Richard Douglas was reported for that bump on Zach Merritt. Some contention because Shorey, as we know in the coverage, said that it was a perfect bump. I even wrote the notes on my piece of paper. A lot of feedback on Twitter right now. Vince says, you're kidding, right? For what? A bump? What a joke. He had a blood lip. How can you be reported but not even a free kick? Fair bump anyway. So you're getting some love on Twitter, but plenty of negative things as well on
Plenty
Twitter.
you probably can't repeat.
Yes, exactly. So we'll just leave that alone. But if we look at the tribunal system for 2018, which has been revised, if you're thinking low impact for that bump, careless, low impact, high will get him just a fine. But if it is graded as careless, medium impact and high contact, it will carry a 1-match suspension. So I guess it's up to Chriso on whether that is low or medium impact.
Where's the, did you say with high impact, was that right?
So medium or low impact with high contact.
Well, where's the high contact?
Well, that's the thing.
Because if the bump is to the body and it's a whiplash thing, he didn't make contact with the head, he's made contact with the torso, and we've seen that. I think that's definitive on the replay. So I'm really worried that he will be suspended because of how. But to me, if that is taken out of the game, and this, like the Merritt thing come in, the other question I would say they'd be asking, has he had problems with concussion on other contact stuff? He's been concussed at training, and he's had 2 or 3. Is it that he's got an issue? You know, that there's a weakness there? Because I thought that was low. It was a hard bump, but it was where it had to be bumped. It wasn't in the head.
Are we starting to use precedent now? Because if we could just go back to the preliminary final last year. Trent Cotchin bumped Dylan Shield out of the game with concussion, and Trent Cotchin was clear.
Well, that's a good. Yeah, I thought Cotchin's was worse than that.
So do I.
Because that was a hit in the head. I think it's a whiplash situation.
Next week's not a grand final.
He had blood coming out of his mouth.
Well, could he bitten his tongue? Yeah, with it, it could be anything like that.
That's true. Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a fair bump too, and I hope Douglas doesn't go for it. But
the way it is, I'm always nervous. I can't get into those.
Just onto the game, sure.
Yeah,
I thought that the run of Essendon in that second quarter was going to really blow the game open, but they just missed golden opportunities. Hooker kicked one on the full. Joe Danaher kicked one on the full. Tip and Woody snap, just should have kicked that one, but missed as well. And suddenly, what I suppose that one rotation down, the Adelaide midfield was always going to get their turn on top. And I thought later in that second quarter, guys like Matt Crouch, 22 disposals, Laird off halfback, just keeps finding the footy. Gibbs, I thought, lifted, had 18 disposals. Rory Sloane, not big numbers, but he was important. And Talia's, I thought, done a pretty good job on Joe Danaher. The worry for Adelaide is, their forward line. I still think for the amount of ball they've got in there, it's been slow. But still McGovern, Jenkins, Eddie Betts, I think Saar's done a good job there. They haven't impacted their forward 50 like you'd hope, and the ball's rebounded out a little bit too easily. Yeah, look, I'm still worried about the speed on the outside, but if your forward line, and both have been really inefficient about how they've gone about it with the numbers of inside 50, not massive inside 50s, are they, 26 and 28? But to me, I still say individually, I think Adelaide has got a little bit more upside. Like Mitch McGovern's had 3 possessions. We know he's a dangerous player, a multiple goal kicker. Jenkins has kicked his 2, but he got one over the top, which he does get a lot of those, one easy one, but he hasn't looked really aggressive into the game except when he goes in the ruck. Sammy Jacobs, I think, well done the Bell Chambers. I reckon he's had a really good game. 13 hit-outs to 12, but they've been really clean. He got forward and kicked a goal. Ruckman don't amass the ball a hell of a lot. But to me, maybe it's time that Essendon try and
they've probably got bets inside to say he's the bloke who's really hurt. I think he's kicked 54 goals against Essendon in not a lot of games, so he's had a really good, and they're thinking we're controlling that.
Yeah.
Saad's the one I think can give Essendon that other run that might be devastating, but will they release him?
I wouldn't on this.
Not yet.
No,
not
because
now.
I think he's done a really good job, and his speed is worrying Eddie Betts a little bit. So Betts has got to get a bit busier, I would have thought. But yeah, look at the Bombers' end. Heppel, he's accumulated plenty of the footy, 20 disposals. Zaharakis 18. It's been very defensive this game. A lot of numbers being dropped back and a lot of turnovers, sure. So I think it'll just come down to who can use the ball better and execute when inside forward 50, because both teams have just butchered so many opportunities.
Well, we know Essendon, like I said, they were the worst side of coming out of defensive turnovers last year. They did it again probably 3 or 4 times tonight, and it hasn't hurt them because they haven't been able to convert Adelaide. So, look, Adelaide, I agree. The last 10 minutes they were on top because of their midfield, just accumulation of, Crouch led off halfback, like you said. Sloan started to get into the game too, but he's only had 11 possessions. He needs to lift that to get into the 30s for them to get across the line here. Look, I think this might come down to the ruckman too. Who controls it? Jenkins and Jacobs up against Belchambers, who I think's been pretty effective in the first half.
Sure, we're going to a break, but have you been happy with Stringer's first half?
Oh, yeah, look, he got involved, but not enough. He's got to do more. You've got to be involved. But I don't think the disposal by either side inside 50 has been really pure at any time. Yeah. There's not been a lot of one-on-ones, like you said, a lot of numbers behind the ball.
Yeah.
More analysis from Matthew Lloyd and Tony Shaw on the other side of the break. Half-time for Sheen panel service from Etihad Stadium. Friday night football in the season. Opening round, Essendon 5-8-38 to Adelaide 4-9-33 in Game 3 of the NBL Grand Final. Melbourne United leading Adelaide by 7 points, 79-72, with 17 seconds remaining in the third quarter. And what about the start to the Australian innings at Newlands in Cape Town? One can only imagine the electricity and the tension out in the middle. South Africa bowled out for 311. Australia 1 for 44 just halfway through the 7th over. David Warner, the man out, bowled by Kagiso Rabada for 30 from just 14 deliveries with 5 fours and a 6. And Rabada, the villain for the last couple of weeks from an Australian perspective. What about his figures? 3 overs, 1 for 30. The personal war between David Warner and Kagiso Rabada. Rabada gets his man. And now Cameron Bancroft not out 11. Kawaja on 1. Australia 1 for 44 in reply to South Africa's 311. That's the latest from the footy and also in sport around the country and around the globe.